washing a car and everything, and I was like, damn, this is almost time. Oh, meeting is being live streamed. Okay. All right, I'm ready. We are live.
All right,
You
all
know,
right. All right, beautiful people. This is Truth Coming to You, episode 29, Day and Night, Day and Night podcast. Like I said, episode 29. We got a good one for you. So lock in, get prepared. You can actually you can comment. You can't call in, but you can comment. We'll see if we can see your comments. We'll respond accordingly. So, as always, beautiful people, um, your thoughts becomes your belief, and your belief becomes your manifestation. All right.
well, I mean, hello everybody, and you know, every week I say the same thing. Like, subscribe, and comment. And I'm gonna make a comment on that because Beverly, if you're watching, I don't know, remember Beverly, man? I used to date her back in high school, right before we moved to Philly. She lived in
Yeah,
West Philly,
yeah,
right? So I always take the train out there. Well,
yeah.
she commented, but she sent it to my instant messenger. It was a really good comment. It's about today's topic. So just subscribe, like, and comment on the page because there was some great content that she had to say. I kind of screenshot it, so I'm gonna read some of what she had to say on a comment about our topic today. But like I always say, STS guys. I say that mainly for my personal training. It's something that I believe it covers everything in life. Whatever we try to do, accomplish, stay focused. You got to trust your process that you're going through, and most of all, you got to be consistent at it. So that's just something that I live by. STS guys. I say that mainly for my personal training. I appreciate y'all taking the time out to check us out live here on Sunday. It's beautiful outside. So whoever is watching, I appreciate you guys for taking the time out and joining in on today's topic. It covers everything in life. Whatever we try to do, accomplish, stay focused. You got to trust your process.
All right. So, just to get started, today's topic is a degree, is it necessary to be successful? It's a good topic. I have a lot to talk about with this topic. This may rub some people a certain type of way. It shouldn't. This is just my opinion. I see it both ways. And my perspective is going to be kind of interesting just because, you know, I have degrees. So I'm going to actually give out or put out some statistics that I did when I was doing some research. Now, this kind of blew me away when I did the research and I found the statistics, what it talked about as far as the amount of people in the United States that have degrees, the separation as far as how much a person makes that have a degree opposed to someone that doesn't have a degree. And it's just a little difference, but it was eye-opening for me when I actually found this out. So just to start off, so basically in the United States, public schools, the industry as far as colleges, it makes about $438 billion a year. That's how much it takes in revenue. And that's public colleges. So private is about 242 billion, and private nonprofit, it makes about 14 billion. So the total revenue in 2022, they don't have 23 yet because it's still present, still current. And that total amount was $576 billion is what the revenue is for colleges, private. Now, the average mean of income for graduates in the United States. Now, it didn't specify as far as bachelor's, associates, master's, and doctorate. I'll get to that part later. But as far as with a bachelor's, the average amount is $52,000 a year is what someone would make if they have a bachelor's degree. And that was from ages 22 to 27. Now, high school graduates for the age of 22 to 27, the average amount that they make is $30,000. Now, that's about what, $18,000 difference as far as what someone makes having a bachelor's degree opposed to someone that just has a high school diploma. Okay. Now, as far as the difference with as far as who completed school. So in 2019, 35% of the U.S. population had some form of college degree. Like I said, whether it's associates, bachelor's, doctorate, or master's. 47% of those adults earned a degree in 2021 to 2022. So the percentages started to go up. More people were going to school after 2019. Now, so from the ages of 25 to 64, college degrees, 53.7% of people in the United States had college degrees in 2021. 40% dropout rate and 41% graduating after 4 years. So that number in itself was staggering too. 41% actually graduated and 40% dropped out. Now, I'm going to put this little statistics out and then we'll get into it. So as far as millionaires, just to give a little bit of context to it, millionaires that had no high school diploma in the United States is less than 1%. As far as college degrees, 22% of people that actually college degree actually made or got to the point to be a millionaire. And as far as someone with a graduate degree or doctorate, 38% actually became millionaires. And there was a list as far as all the people in the United States that are millionaires. There's 16 as far as that's recorded that actually are millionaires that did not go to college. Now, this is what stood out to me. You have Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Michael Dell, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, Yvonne Williams, and I don't know who those last three are, last two, Branson and Yvonne Williams. But the other ones that stood out to me was Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Dell, and Steve Jobs. Now, those are the ones that has major corporations. So, you know, that point can be argued that as far as like a lot of the major corporations in the United States, these guys didn't even go to high school. I mean, not high school. They didn't even go to college, and look where they at. So that can be argued. I'm kind of have mixed emotions with this topic. Like I said, only because I have degrees. You know, I have a bachelor's, associates, and a master's. So I can see from one point as far as how it can be an advantage, as far as having degrees based off of, like, you know, I stated earlier, with the amount of money you make having a degree opposed to not having a degree. Now, this is, to me, where it gets tricky, because this goes back to the conversation we had or the podcast we had before about success. To me, it really depends on what your idea of success is. Now, I know what the United States paints success is. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, as far as what society says success is, then yeah, there's a no-brainer that in order to go to, to be successful, make a lot of money and so forth, then having a degree will give you an advantage. Now, for me, I don't believe that that's necessarily the truth in every aspect, because there are some people that can be successful. Again, are you looking at as far as money-wise, or are you looking at as far as just being successful owning your own business? You know, I know several people that have their own business. Are they millionaires? No, but they're successful with what they're doing. So in my eyes, you know, they're successful. Some of them have degrees because, you know, what they own their business for, you know, actually they had to get a degree to perform that profession that they're doing. but others, they didn't have to go to school, you know. So there's some people out there that actually are successful, meaning they have their own business. They're not clocking in 9 to 5, you know, and they're getting things done and they're being the difference. So I'm just going to stop there, and I'm going to shift it over to you and get your perspective on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good that you did the percentages and all that. So now again, I'm gonna start off by saying this is only, like you already said before, this is only our opinion. This is not me by no means saying this is the way it should be. This is just a point of view. My perspective is gonna be totally different. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, you see it that way because of your situation. Like you just stated, Matt, you have your master's, your bachelor, your associates. I just got my high school diploma. I'm gonna be transparent about that. I finished it online too when we moved to San Antonio. So I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. That's as far as it went. And I have my certification in personal training. I didn't go get the NASM or anything like that, or go to a college and get the master's in personal training, or what is it called? Because I'm going to start doing it next year. I'm gonna start doing the school for getting my kinesiology. So all I'm gonna say is I'm not advocating this. I'm not saying this is the way it should be. One thing I will say that I do believe, kind of like you said, Matt, it's kind of mixed emotions. I do believe you do need a degree. I think it does solidify the financial part. I do believe that that will put you in a higher pay bracket if you have that. Now, this is where I'm gonna change it and flip it and say, I know a few people that has masters and they not working the job or doing what they went to school for, but they have a master's. And I know someone that's doing the same job, same thing like me, has high school diploma, and they got a position where the person that has the master's should be. So that's why I say it's a catch-22. I'm not going to sit here and say that everybody could just say, oh, I'm not going to college, I'm going to be successful. I think you made a good point where you were saying it depends on the individual. If you someone that you want to pursue school, you feel like college is going to be something that's in your resume, so to speak, to say that this is something that you accomplish in life to fulfill your personal goals, and I say you should go for it. But if you can't go to school, because not everybody can afford college. A lot of people go to school, and Matt, you can speak on this better than I can, but I know you was military, so it might be a little different. But again, I have friends that went to school that's still paying student loans, and they don't have the job they went to school for, but they had a degree. So that's why I say the catch-22 is you could get the degree, but you might be out there looking for the job that you went to school for, and you still can't find it, but you still got to pay back all those student loans. So that's where I say it's a catch-22, meaning, yeah, you have your degree, but it's not always guaranteed you're going to be in the profession that you actually went to school for. Now, I'm going to read something that my friend Beverly, she's a doctor. She has her master's in, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, Bev, but I believe she have her master's. She might have her doctorate. But she wrote this, it's a long message she texted me. So I'm only going to read like the first part of it. She wrote, I have talked to several of my patients about this, as many as my own children get older. The answer for our generation is so different than the generation coming of age now. What kind of degree makes, well, let me come here, I can't read my handwriting. What kind of degree makes a huge difference? Okay, then she put, and what level of degree are you calling a degree? Many patients have told me that in their own field, you need a graduate degree to get what a college got you 20 years ago. Does that make sense? I'm gonna read that again. This is one of her patients that she talks to that in their field, they have a certain degree. She stated that one of her patients said, at what level degree are you calling a degree? Many patients have told me that in their own fields, you need a graduate degree to get what a college got you 20 years ago. Okay. And then she went on to state, dollar for dollar, a moderate degree research has found that it is well worth going to college if you keep going to a master's profession or get your doctorate. Then she says the margins are currently closer if you stop at a bachelor's, but still better than a high school diploma. Okay, so from what I got out of that, basically what I get is if you get a high school diploma, if you don't pursue to go further and educate yourself, you're gonna get a high school diploma type job. If you have a bachelor's, you might get a bachelor type job in that field. Now, this is where I'm gonna agree with that. I do believe that, but this is where I say it depends on the individual. And we all know the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And the reason why I say that is I worked for Industrial Toyota, which is a big corporation, one of the biggest dealerships or manufacturers in the country. Actually, we personally manufacture cars to supply around the world, not just in the United States, but around the world. We have the second biggest plant in the United States. The other one's in North Carolina. Now, the reason why I'm stating that is the guy that works there, the president of the company, we just had a meeting last week. And we always have a meeting once a month. And they come in and give us updates on where we are as a business. So he went back and kind of trying to encourage everybody because it was like a career day. He started in the company, never went to he finished high school, but he got hired on because his dad worked there. And he got in the company, and long story short, he kept progressing. He's been there almost 30-something years. And he progressed to where he's the president. And he was just saying that, hey, all I have is a high school diploma. I never went and finished school. I never did anything else to better myself. I just stayed with the company and I grew with the company. And I just got to the point where I'm president of Toyota in the plant that's in San Antonio. Not of all of them, but just the plant San Antonio. So he was just basically telling everybody that school is important, but if you don't have that route that you want to take, don't feel like you won't be successful. It's going to be hard work, determination. You learn as you go. But he also said, and he was being honest, he was being very transparent. He said, I got lucky because my dad worked for the company. So it helped him get in the door. Now, this is the not funny, but this is the interesting part. It's a guy after COVID kind of messed everything up. He has a master's in kinesiology. He's actually wants to own his own business and rehabilitation and all that, but he had to pay bills. And he's working at Toyota on the line with me, which is a hard labor job. And he's upset because after he saw that the president, he's like, that's crazy, man. I got my master's and I'm sitting here working on the line and I can't get the job of what I want, but I'm sitting here busting my butt, making $20 an hour. And he's like, that don't even make sense. He didn't even go to school. And I went to school. So that's why I say sometimes it does help to know certain people. But I said, maybe you need to just keep looking, keep trying. He's like, man, I've been trying since 2022 and he just has not had no luck. So the point I'm making is on this is I don't want to take all the time. I'm gonna let it go back to you, Matt. Is he was just saying how it's messed up that he went to school and he did all what he's supposed to, and he's got a job and he's sitting next to somebody that haven't got no education. I should say education. They haven't furthered to get a degree. And he feels like he's a failure now because he hasn't exceeded to what he thought he would be by now. So that's why I was like, well, you got to just keep pushing. I give him little words of encouragement, but I'm just putting that out there to just say that that's one scenario, because I got 4 more I'm going to go over where the president didn't go to school and he's president, but he had someone to know to guide him to get to that point. And then I have the guy that works with me that has his master's in kinesiology, and he's sitting there on the line with me. So he's kind of not mad, but he just kind of felt like, damn, what did I go to school for if this is what I'm going to be doing with everybody else? So I'm going to let you go ahead and say something. I'm going to take all the time, but I'm going to come back with 3 more scenarios.
All right, so that's the perfect lead-in. You was talking about your friend Beverly when she was talking about as far as degrees. Now, I was a little lost when she said, depending on what type of degree, is it a real degree? But it makes sense afterwards when you said that, depending on like bachelor's now, basically you're not, in her opinion, is not going to make the same amount that someone that has a doctorate.
Okay, exactly.
So now this is where I did research. So depending on where you do your research is going to depend upon what type of facts or evidence you're going to receive.
Mhm.
So now, for males versus female, this is an annual wage as far as what a high school graduate makes, all the way up to a doctorate. Now, high school, the average amount that an average 22-year-old of someone that graduated high school is $40,000 as a male. For females, and this blew my mind because I don't think it's that much of a difference, but I guess it is. It's
Mhm.
27,000 is what a female makes
Mhm.
with just a high school diploma. Now,
Wow.
the national average amongst male and female is 33,000.
Mhm.
Now, some college, there's somebody at the school, they didn't graduate a course, is 47,000 for males, 31,000 for females, and the average national average between the both is 38,000. Just
Mhm.
with some college. Now,
Right.
someone with an associate's degree is 51,000, round off to 52,000 for males,
Mhm.
39,000 for men, I mean for women, 41,000 average. Someone with a
Right.
bachelor's degree, 69,000, round off to 70,000 for men, 50,000 for women, and 59,000, round off to 60,000 average for both. Now,
Mhm.
someone with a master's, 89,000, rounded off to about 90,000 for men, 63,000 for females, and total national average is 70,000 with a master's. Now, someone that's professional, this kind of threw me off. I don't know if this is talking about athletes. So
Mhm.
124,000 to 580 for males, 92,000 for females,
Mhm.
102,000 national average between the two. Now, someone with
Mhm.
a doctorate is 120,000 for men, and this is crazy, 84,000 for females, and 100,000 between the two. So the reason why I read that is because you were saying, like she's saying nowadays, a bachelor's is not equivalent. You got to basically have a master's. So if
Right.
someone's looking at the pay scale as far as what that person is going to make,
Mhm.
then depending on where you're at in the States and what job you're working for, or whatever your occupation is, it's
Right.
going to determine that.
Mhm.
So this is again where I'm kind of on the fence. Like me, I love education. That's what
Mhm.
I'm about. I'm about education. Even though I have all three degrees, I've worked in each one of those degrees. I did electronics when I got my associates. I did
Mhm.
personal training when I was sports and health science with my bachelor's. And my
Mhm.
MBA, I did a little bit at USCIS, and I had my own practice for massage. So I worked in each field, but I'm the type person to where I'm all about education. Like I'm still educating myself right now. I read
Mhm.
books. I'm constantly learning. And for me, that's what's more important. So when we pose this question, do you have to have an education to be or degree to be successful? That's where
Right.
I'm like on the fence. Me personally, I don't think that you do, but in the world that we live in and
Mhm.
where we at in the United States, based off of these numbers, if you're looking at money as being success, then yes, it's a no-brainer. If you want to make some money, then yeah, you're gonna have to have a degree. But
Mhm.
that again, that doesn't make sense to me. Like going to your coworker,
Mhm.
I'm in the mindset right now. Being that I have all this education, I'll be damned if I'm gonna work for somebody else.
Right.
So to me, it sounds like he's not putting himself out there
Right.
to um to work for himself. Like he's looking for
Mhm.
somebody else to
Right.
pay him.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you have the knowledge. A person that has that degree, they have the knowledge. Now, will everyone be a successful business person? No, because it takes
Mhm.
tenacity, it takes organizational skills, takes
Mhm.
people skills. It's a lot that goes with that. So
Right.
everybody I know can't be a business person. But
Mhm.
I'm just saying, for me, how I look at it as if you have those degrees, you should not always necessarily look to work for someone else to
Mhm.
be successful or to make money.
Yeah.
So if you have people out there that's not working in their field, why aren't they pushing themselves out there to own their own? So that could be a fault of their own, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, it depends on what it is. Now, I'm going to
Right.
say this, and you go back on your four examples you have to use. Now, this
Yeah.
is what I look at again. I say education is the key for me.
Mm-hmm.
What I believe they should do. Now, I know everything is about money. I believe there should be certifications. I believe when people
Mm-hmm.
graduate high school, there should be two things that's mandatory. You have to do 2 years of active service, and you have to do at least 2 years of school. Not necessarily to get a degree, but just to go
Mm-hmm.
to school to pick up those skills. And
Right.
then anything else, you have to get certified. Like massage
Mm-hmm.
therapists, we have to get a national certification in order to practice
Mm-hmm.
it. Doctors, they have to get
Right.
certified. Lawyers, they have to get certified.
Mm-hmm.
Plumbers, carpenters, they all have to get certified before they go to work. To me, that's the best way to go about it. But
Mm-hmm.
because school is about money and they're making money, like I stated in the beginning, it's a 586 or 576 billion-dollar industry. So of course they're going to push you have to have a degree in order to be successful because they're making money off of it.
Right.
And these corporations, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, these jokers are making money saying that, okay, in order for you to work for my company at a high position, you have to go to school and get this and get a degree in order to work for me at a corporate level. So if you take all that away, you don't take the necessary mandate of if you get a doctorate, you'll make over 120,000 a year. If you get a master's,
Mm-hmm.
it's 120, 89,000.
Right.
Most people go to school because they think, well, if I go to school, I'm going to get this great job, I'm going to make X amount of
Mm-hmm.
money.
Yeah.
Because again, if you have a passion for something, a lot of times the passion is not necessarily related to getting a degree. Again, someone that loves building homes. Now, someone that
Mm-hmm.
loves that, like a engineer.
Yeah.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
education. If you educate
Right.
them, they still go to school, but the
Right.
requirement is to be certified in
Yeah.
order to work. So if you can go get a 4-year degree and then get a master's, then you'll be like, oh boy, he's at the plant with you.
Mm-hmm.
But what good is it doing him? You know? All right.
Yeah.
You got little man there with you?
Yeah. Deanna just walked in with him. He looked at me like, don't say nothing to me. I'm with my auntie. But
Right.
no, anyway, I'm still with her. He don't like me. But yeah, so you had some good points. Like, I'm gonna try to go backwards and not echo what you say or say the same thing you said, but just echo one or piggyback off of it. Like the one thing you said about the different degrees. I'm gonna use an example with Marcus, my son, y'all. Now, a good friend of mine's Felicia, okay, put her out there. She does recruit. Well, she's a recruiter for the health industry. She goes to all the businesses and get them to buy the insurance for anybody, any employees that gets hurt, sick, or when you could get hired, you get your drug test and all that. That's all she does. She goes to the different places and try to get them to sign a contract with Nova Care, I believe, not Nova Care, but Urgent Care is one of the ones she worked for. So Marcus, my son, just has a high school diploma. I'm not trying to put all his business out there. I'm just trying to paint a picture. So I told him because he wanted to do something different. So I told my friend Felicia, she said, let me talk to my people. They offered, he said he had to take a course, okay, to get certified because what he does is he'll go in there and every business has it. Any factory has a manager that's the health guy that goes in and he always speak on health, how to
Right.
be safe. And, he's a health manager. And that's what Mark is going to be doing is go to different companies and just talk about being a safety manager, basically is what he is.
That's
So
what's up.
the
That's
point I'm
good.
trying to get through is, again, never went to school for this, don't have any degree in anything, and he was going to be making $80,000 a year because that position that she was going to put him in, that's what they make here in San Antonio. So the point I'm making is to go back to what I was saying earlier about is, I'm not saying this all the time. I'm not telling anybody to go out and hang your hat on this because that'd be the worst thing to do. But it does help to know people sometimes in certain positions. That's why I was saying it's not what you know, it's who you know. So because I knew Felicia and Felicia knew people at work, all they had him do is take the test. He still had to do his part. He studied, and I was proud of him. He studied, passed the test, and the next step was to go do an interview. I think he even made it to that point where he was going to already be hired. But the only reason why, I don't know if he was going to take it or not, because there's a lot of traveling involved. So he had to be doing a lot of traveling out of the city, but because he has his little kid, I don't know if he's going to take it. But the point of all that is he was going to be making almost $80,000 a year for someone that never even went to college. So that's why I say sometimes it does help. Now, again, I'm not saying just go off of that, just go, well, I'm not going to go to school. I'm just going to go out and find, hopefully I meet somebody or know somebody that can help. If you know somebody that can, great. But I'm just saying that was a good example where sometimes, yeah, you don't have college, but you can't always think that you're not going to be able to be successful or make it. It's sometimes knowing the right people. But I will say, like you said, educate yourself is important. I think that's a hell of a good idea with the 2 years of the service and the 2 years, because I think everybody should want to progress and learn and get educated and keep going forward, because then you will be stuck in that dead end job because you're not doing anything to better yourself. So you kind of stuck in that position. You can't get mad at nobody else if you're not wanting to evolve and go forward. So that where I would believe that if you don't go to school, vocational school or a trade school, I think is perfect. If you're in a certain trade, you're learning that primary trade, so you know you're gonna get a job in that field because you're learning that particular trade. Now, again, that's more hard labor. If you're not a hard labor person, then I get it. But they have it for nursing, everything now. You can go online. They have schools for that now. So college may not be for everybody, but you can always educate yourself other ways or get certifications just to be able to get a job. And then once you get in that job, if you're one of those people that you want to grow within the company, that's another route. But I think success is basically, like you said, what you want for success. Everybody's success is different on how they view it. Some people want to go to college and they feel like they succeeded. They get that diploma, the master's or the doctorate, and that's success for them because they accomplished something. But if you want to just make it in the world and whatever you do, I think that you should do whatever it is as far as trade school or go to a job. And again, grow within the company. If it's a good, stable company, there's nothing wrong with growing with that company. If it's a stable company that's going to be there, you can grow with it. Like the president, like he's been there 30 years, it's a long time. But he's a president. He didn't stay in one place. He didn't say, "Oh, I just want to be a regular employee." He was hungry. He wanted to evolve and be a president, and that's what he did. So I think it depends on you, individual. I think that nowadays people do view a college degree as success, and if you don't have that, you ain't succeed, or you're not doing good, or So that's sad because to me it shouldn't be like that. Everybody has certain goals. As long as you want to better yourself, that's the key right there. And if you're somebody that's just going to sit there and just be content on being one way, then that's a subject. Then you need to look within yourself. But if you're somebody that want to grow, I don't think that if you're not in college or go to college, that means that you can't succeed. Because I mean, there's a lot of famous people out there. Even though it's entertainment, still they was hungry. Jay-Z, he took himself from the streets, hustler. What's the name? 50 Cent. I follow him because this guy never produced before. And he has 4 different TV shows right now. Now a lot of people are like, well, he probably had help. Well, the thing is, he did what he had to do. He never went to school. He was a hustler, and now this guy up there, big time, 50 Cent, P. Diddy. It's a guy that I know. He has his own cigar shop, and he started just small, selling it out of the little corner store. Now he has 3 all around the city, and he said he started back in 2012, and now he has 3 stores. He said, "Bro, I never went to school." He said, "I have a little bit of business smarts, but he's a hustler." He said, "I was on the street, so I know how to gift the gab." And now he got 4 stores around the city. So that's success, like you said, business-wise. He has his own business. So I think we shouldn't hold ourselves to fault if we don't choose college. That's just the ones that don't have that college in them. I don't think that means you don't want to succeed. I don't feel like that means you don't want to be successful. That just means you're not somebody to do that. But just other ways, like I said, vocational school, trade school, or even learning as you go on the job you want. You know, I was working for HEB and I moved up within a company where I was going to be one of the main managers. Unfortunately, I'm not with them no more, but it was who I knew. I went to school within them because they had their own program within the business. So I did their business courses there and progressed. And, you know, I know a little bit about business. I ain't get a doctorate or a master's and all that, but I still know they taught us how to do the revenue, the bottom line, all the basic things you need to know to run a business. So, I mean, it's you can make it. I believe you can make it. People doing TikTok, doing business that way. I mean, it's just a lot of avenues. I think nowadays different as opposed to before, where if you want to be successful, like you said, man, if you deem money or having a nice house is your success, but if you just want to own something and be successful at it, I think you can. Your son, look at your son, Matt. You could use him as an example. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, he's going to stay that way, but he just now graduated high school and he has his own little gig. So I believe it takes, like you said, tenacity. It's based on individual. I really believe that. And what you want out of life, how you trying to get it. You know, you can't set yourself as, oh, I didn't go to school, so this is the only job I deserve. No, it's all how hungry you are. What are you going to do? What do you want going forward? I think at the end of the day, because again, at this point in life and where we are with technology and all that, and all these different avenues, you could be successful and make it if you choose not to go to college. Not saying don't. If you want to go to school, get the education, I don't think it's a bad thing. I know I said a lot, so I'm gonna kick back and let you say what you got to say.
No, just to go back as far as with Marcus, that's real good. I hope he can find a way to take that and navigate between being at home and, you know, with the newborn. But that's interesting in the sense that there are some cases out there where someone can get a job in a position like that may require some form of education, and it's like you said, it's based off of who you know. But unfortunately, everybody don't have that opportunity, you know.
Right.
So that's where it's kind of tricky because you could say, okay, well, yeah, it worked in this case, in this case, but this country is big. So for everybody to just so happen to rub shoulders with the right person is going to, you know, could put you in a bad situation. So I'm just going to read another statistic that stood out to me. Now, this is concerning the different ethnicities. So the lowest, as far as amount of people that go to school, are Black. So 1% of college graduates are Black. 3% of Black earns out of 13% of the associate degrees. Only 3% are Black. 2% is Black as far as out of 10.1% that receives a bachelor's, and then 5% out of 11.3 for a master's. And then Hispanics is like 45.3% out of 12% of associate graduates, and so forth. So we're at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to college education. And that's why I say that's important, because when you don't have the opportunity to rub shoulders with somebody or meet somebody that knows somebody, then we're always going to be down at the bottom, because some of these jobs are going to say, okay, if you don't have a college degree, then you won't be able to fulfill this position. Then that puts us back down, and you got this Hispanic or this Asian or Caucasian, then they have it, then that's going to put them a step higher as far as you know, on the pay scale. And you know, we talk about generational wealth a lot. You hear that a lot amongst athletes and entertainers. So they're like 1% of the population. So everybody again is not going to have the opportunity. So if we're 1%, 2%, as far as something that can give you an advantage as far as pay, and like I read earlier, with just a high school diploma, that's 40,000 based off of 124 or 89 if you have a master's. So then that generational wealth again is going to skip us because you know we're not going to school to put ourselves in that position. Now, do I 100% agree that it's necessary? No, because like you said, there's people that can actually be successful without college. And I know I already said this, but to me, it just makes more sense that now someone getting a skill is different. And I think that's where the game comes in. That's why I think it's an agenda, because they're selling a business. You know, school is a business, just like anything else. So if they're telling everybody you have to get a degree, you have to get a degree to make X amount of money, most people are going to focus on that opposed to focus on just education and getting a skill. Because, you know, like I said, most of those high paying jobs, it requires a skill. Now, if you told a doctor, an attorney, or a lawyer that, okay, you don't have to have a degree, but when you graduate, you have to take a certification, and they still got to take a certification anyway, just to practice. So they get the double whammy. So for me, that's where the focus should be. It should be on education, because that's what's going to help you grow and become a better person. And the skills with school, for me, is what I believe people need. That's why I say it should be mandatory that everyone goes to school for 2 years, because you get that experience as far as with different people. You learn how to research, you learn how to use analytical skills, critical thinking skills, the stuff that you don't get in high school. So, you know, those things is going to prepare people to be able to possibly do their own business. But again, it's an agenda, so they don't want that, because then that's going to take money from them. So, you know, they don't want people to have their own businesses and stuff like that. They want them to go to school and spend that money. And then on top of that, they in debt. So, you know, that comes back to me with the whole, I don't say it's a conspiracy, but I just believe that it's all about the money. I don't think they really truly care about people being educated. It's about a business, it's the industry, and they're making more money off of it. Because there's ways we can educate people, you know, and give them skills that's going to be productive in society and for themselves. But when you're constantly pushing money as the end all be all, and that's what's going to make you successful, and that's when you're going to get, in my opinion, people stepping on each other just to get to that point so they can feel, ooh, I made it, baby. I made it. So. Okay, I thought you had another one. You said 4. You covered 2. You got 2 more.
Oh, you just stopped right in the middle. Okay, well, I mean, another one I was going to say, and what you're saying is true. So I just want to say this before anybody think that I'm trying to advocate not getting school. I mean, like I said a minute ago, I agree with what you're saying, Matt. You need to get educated. I think that's the key right there, is what you said, education. School, I think, is important. Like you said, if you don't have that, because a lot of companies do ask for that when you apply. Well, actually, do you have a bachelor's or associate, whatever? So that would, to me, like you said, that makes a difference on your pay, on what you're going to get. I think primarily that's the only thing, if you're going for a skill set. Because one thing you said about learning critical thinking and all of that is good, which is true. But when I was a manager at Sonic, okay, I was a manager at Rufus. Just give you a little backstory. We was the first 2 Black managers in Sonic in San Antonio. That was the top store in sales in San Antonio. And back then he was like, "What, we need to do this, man. We could be the first 2 brothers that go far and really bring this company and blow it up." So he took me, he used to be a manager all his life. Like that was his thing. So he took me under his wing and showed me like about dividends, the cost versus the employee cost. So he taught me the business aspect of how to do that. And it opened my eyes because I never knew. And he was a manager for sales and the rental stores, like Rent-A-Center and all that. So he brought that aspect. He taught me and showed me how it is in that world. So the point I'm making is, again, I'm not advocating this to everybody because you made a good point, Matt, that this big world or country, the opportunity not going to come to everybody where you know somebody that knows somebody. But the point I'm making is, if you get into a situation where you have somebody that's going to teach you, you're going to learn basically the same thing that you would in school, probably more, because you're learning hands-on and you're learning how to actually do it as you go. And the reason why I say that is because at my job, I'm always bringing up work. The other day we working, right? Me and my coworker, we doing the machines and all that. And one of the guys come in, and he's one of the CEOs of the company. And he comes in, now he's supposed to have worked for the company, is what we was told. So he did not know anything about the process on how we made or welded the exhaust. And he's like, how does this work? How do you do that? Now, I know a lot of people like, that's not his job. He's a CEO. He does more the back end of it as far as the numbers and all that. But to me, I'm like, you should know how your company is ran from the trenches, because that's the core. We the people that's going to get you to make these sales and manufacture these parts. So to me, we was like, you got your degree, but you don't even know how the company is ran on the inside. So to me, it kind of correlates to what you're saying, Matt, about you need to learn the skill. So my point is, it's a lot of people that's up there that has a degree because he got in that position because he had degrees, but he ain't no jack about the company because he came from another company. That's what it was. So he was new to Toyota, but he was CEO at another company, but it wasn't manufacturing with cars. Totally different. So he went in there and he just didn't know nothing about it. So it just took me like, wow, you have all of that degrees, but you don't even know how the company is ran, but you're telling us how to run it. So all I'm saying on this, the point I'm making is, sometimes if you learn within whatever you are doing, you can grow. Again, I said this earlier, and progress where you could be successful, whatever it is nurse, manufacturing, industrial, whatever it is. If, again, you don't choose to go to school, but I do believe education, I agree with you on that 100%, is get educated on whatever it is you're trying to do. Don't be content, get more education or whatever it is, because I think whatever company you're with, you can grow with it if you choose to, or just try to better yourself at the end of the day. I mean, I think school is important. That's when I'm bottom line. At the end of the day, I do think school is important. I think you should want to go to school, educate yourself. But to catch 22 again is, if you get out and you don't have no skills, but all you have is that piece of paper, then you mad because you're like, well, damn, I did all this for school and I can't even get a regular job, but I have all this education. So sometimes there's nothing wrong with getting that skill set first and then just grow. You can always go to school in the process if you want to have that degree, just to say you have it as your resume. Because there's a lot of people that I know that, like I said, a partner of mine, he was back when I was working at Crunch, the gym, personal training. He had his degree in also kinesiology. And the dude was smart as hell, just smart. But he was mad that he had to work in a gym. And he's like, I got all this education and this is where I'm at. And I said the same thing you kind of said, well, why don't you go out and do your own thing and be an independent trainer instead of working for a gym and, making that money, minimizing yourself when you have all that knowledge. But he just was upset. So I was just like, I don't get why you don't progress yourself or, push yourself. So I think it depends on individuals my point I'm making. Some people have the degree because he kept flaunting it. Oh, I got a master's in this and this and this and that. And what are you doing to back that up? So I think sometimes a lot of people have degrees, but they're not working in that field, but they want to kind of, I hate to say brag, but they kind of brag about what degrees they got. But you're not doing anything with that. So I think that's another thing where you don't go to school just to say you have degrees if you're not making any progress of saying, hey, this is my degree, but this is my field that I'm in. And I'm not pointing a finger and saying anybody wrong for that, but that's an issue too sometimes. I believe don't go to school just to say you have a degree. If you're going to do it, push through it, try your best to get in that field. I know nowadays it's different. It's hard because everything is different because of the COVID changed a lot of stuff. Because I worked with a lot of people with degrees and, they couldn't believe they was in that position. But the COVID kind of changed all that too. So.
See, but this is the catch-22, so to speak. Now, this is the position I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
You remember I was reading to you the different wages based off of degrees that you have?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and there's something else too. I don't know if I wrote it down, but based off of your age and your degree status, what is determined as far as how much you make. Like at our age, you should be making a certain amount based off of what you have.
Yeah.
So for me, at 50 years old, with 3 degrees, it's going to be hard, like you said, to find a job. This is how some people get caught in this position. Most jobs are not going to hire you because they know, okay, this person has a master's, so they should be receiving 90,000 at average.
Right.
So it's no way they're going to take you on because one or two things are going to happen. Either you're going to leave or you're going to ask for a pay increase. And then they're not going to be able to give you the money that you want. Then they have you as a liability because you may leave at some point. So guess what? You won't get hired. So it's not that some people can't find a job or, with AI and technology taking over, a lot of those positions are being, decreased. So they're being pushed out. But sometimes you're stuck in that situation to where you can't find a perfect type of job because anything lower than what you were doing, again, most companies are not going to hire you because they're going to be afraid you might leave or you're going to want a pay increase. So that puts you, kind of in a quandary. Is like, damn, what the hell do I do? And then that's what, okay, this job, they said they're going to take me, so I work there. And then someone might be frustrated because, they're sitting there thinking like, damn, I got all this education and this is where I'm at. So sometimes it's not that they don't want to do it. It's whatever is available to them because of the
you got to take what they can get.
So it's tricky. But I know this is like the third time I said it, but it's for me, it's just education. And the degree thing is, to me, is what's getting people deterred. Like TT, the baby girl, she's, in school, student athlete, and she's going in for accounting. But once she graduates, she can either work for a firm, but because she has that degree, she can get certified, her CPA, and she can start her own business. Now, stuff like that, again, you can't do that without going to school. It's like I said, certain jobs, like same thing for a doctor. You have to go to school for that in order to do that. So I think the attention should be taken off from degrees and it should be more emphasized as far as education. And depending on what it is that person wants. Because that, to me, that's what's going to drive if you want to go, like you said, some people just going just to have it as a bragging right. Well, I got X amount of degrees, but what are you doing with it? Nothing. So for me, it's just the focus on that is the big problem. And it's mainly the schools and stuff just driving it, in my opinion.
Now, let me ask you this, man. I don't know if you even have a statistic for that, but it's the other scenario dynamic. A lot of people that go to school, but they wind up not even doing what they went to school for, meaning maybe they changed their major or what they passion, what they want to do. Like I've met a lot of people who have associates that went to school for one, but they're not even doing it. They have a passion for something else they always wanted to do, and now they're doing that. So, I mean, that could play a difference too, where you could go to school, you might have that mindset right then and there. This is when I'm going to school, I want to do this, but it's not really your passion. What you really love to do, you kind of put it to the side, but that's what you wind up falling back to anyway. So I think, again, the education is the key. not the degree. That's where I kind of agree with you, where I'm not going against it. I don't want to sound like I'm saying school is not needed, but I think you should follow, and it sounds like a cliche, follow your dream and go what you really want. I think you need to go do what you want to do, what your passion is, but get educated behind it so you can succeed in whatever it is. Because some people, I think, go to school because, not, I want to say peer pressure, but to make their parents proud. Say, hey, I went to school because my parents always wanted me to go to school, and they going, and then they get the degree, but when they get out, it's not really what they wanted. So that's why I always say, if that's what you want to do, then do it. But if you feel like school isn't the route, then again, you do need the degree, like you said, to get that pay rate. I really honestly believe if it's something you believe in, you could get educated on it, get a certification, and still be successful at whatever it is you want to do. So that's where I'm walking a thin line when I say you need school, but you don't. I think you need to be educated on whatever it is you're trying to accomplish in life. Whatever you're trying to do, you need to get educated on it because that's how you're going to excel at it, right? So I think that would be, to me personally, your primary objective is if you want to be an engineer, focus on that and do that. I know a lot of schools have the program where you can be a intern, where you go, because there's a guy, this is crazy. It was a 16-year-old that came from Japan to Toyota that was an engineer, and he was being a intern. 16, he's already an engineer. So, but that's the field he wanted to be in. So that's why I say, if you in a particular thing, you said it earlier, Matt, depends on what you want to do. A doctor, I know you got to have that school. I get it. Or a lawyer or something to that matter. But I think anything outside of that, if you really want it, you can educate yourself if you choose not to go to school and be successful. It's a guy that works with me. He's a lead, smart as hell. I mean, this guy, I call him a guy. The guy could just do things, and it's like, and I asked him, his name is Daniel. I'm like, dude, why are you just being a lead? Why don't you be a supervisor or go work and be an engineer? Because the dude know how to fix stuff that even the maintenance guys supposedly know how to fix, and they go to him. And I'm just like, bro, you're doing the wrong thing. And when he taught, he just knows a lot of stuff. He's knowledgeable. And I said, did you ever go to college? He said, no, he used your word. I educated myself. He likes to learn. So I'm asking him, well, why are you here just being a lead? Like, not putting them down, but I'm like, you could go somewhere and be more successful, making more money, whatever. He said, because this is just what I like to do. He said, I don't like the politics in it. So I said, well, go work for a company, be an engineer there, something, because you don't belong here. But he never had any schooling outside of high school. So that's why I go back to, you could be very successful, again, like you said, Matt, if you want that and not even have no schooling and still be very intelligent and know, he's, like I said, I call him a guy, I call him a guru, because he has knowledge on a lot of different things, not just in the field that we work at. That's why I told him, I was like, dude, you shouldn't be here, man. You're a very intelligent guy, but you seem like you're not trying to do anything. That's when he told me that he's cool the way he is. I said, okay, teach his own. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but yeah, he shouldn't be there. And he's smarter than some of the CEOs that's there. That's why I was saying earlier about you work for a company, you know nothing about it, but you're a CEO because you have a degree. So that's where I'm kind of on the fence, where some people out there have the degree, they don't have no knowledge, they have no skills, no understanding of it. They just went to school and they thrown in a company and they don't know nothing about the company, but yet they running it. So I think sometimes you need to be in the trenches to really be, good at what you do, instead of just saying, hey, I got this paper right here that says that I'm good, but you really don't know jack. In a sense, because he didn't know nothing about the company, he just has that paper that says he does. That to me, that was kind of like, wow, that's crazy how that works. Well, you said it, man. It's just about the money. So I get that, but just saying that's my point of view on that aspect. Because yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, in defense of this guy you're speaking of,
Mm-hmm.
Like his position as far as in that company is at the executive level to
Yeah.
as far as how that company runs at that level. So he
Uh-huh.
not necessarily have to know how it runs as far as on the floor with the equipment and
Right.
stuff like that. He's
Uh-huh.
more like the logistics side of it, probably the
Yeah.
the financial piece of it,
Right.
the supply part of it. So that's
Yeah.
what his specialty is. That's why when they go to school, that's what they learn and that's what they focus on. So he necessarily don't have to know the
Mm.
operation, so to speak. His position is probably dealing with the um the admin side of it. But
I mean, I hear you. I mean, I agree with that, but I don't at the same time because I feel like if you, even though you are on the back end, you're doing the admin, you still, to me, if I own a company, I want to know everything about it. I want to be able to go down there and get my, and I mean, people gonna be like, why would you do that? But to me, it shows that you know how the company works inside and out. It's not just one aspect because you're telling, you're leading other people to do something that you can't even do or know how to do yourself. And the only reason why you in your position is because you went to school, but you really don't know nothing about the company as a whole that makes it run. You know how to keep it running, but you don't know what's the backbone to make it run. And I'm gonna say why, because it's another guy's brother. His name is Tim. He's one of the supervisors, and he comes in there and he knows the job inside and out. He knows the admin side of it, and he knows the hard labor part of it. And he comes in there, and people give him respect because he knows both parts. So when he come in there, he like, I know what y'all going through, man. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna get out of here. We want to go home. You know, it's a late day. The other CEO, no, they need to keep doing this, this, and that. We need these numbers because our Toyota has matched their quota. So that's what I mean when the only reason why I say that is he's looking at it true on that the logistics part, but you in there with us, but you don't know what's going on why it's going on. And then Tim, same position, he comes in and he knows the ins and outs. So that's the only reason why I say that is because Tim is the same position, but he understands how it works on the inside and on the out. To me that's even better. It's cake and eating it too. Not saying that you're wrong, because I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying. It makes sense. But I guess because I'm looking at it on that perspective where if this is your company, you should know how the company ran, period. You know what I mean? All aspects, not just one part. But it makes sense though. I get what you're saying.
okay. So I was thinking when you was talking, I was thinking about when we was in school.
Mhm.
Um, and you know how they had Swinston Skill Center where we went to,
Yeah.
and I don't think they do that now. I think there may be some places that do it, but not many. To
Yeah.
whereas I feel as though
That was
that's
perfect.
where, yeah, that's the big disconnect is because
Mhm.
you're not giving that child an opportunity to find out what it is they like. Because you had home ec, you had mechanical,
Yeah.
you had
Mhm.
what was the other one? It was home ec, carpentry, plumbing,
Carpentry.
all
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
So you had the opportunity to find out, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do. So by the
Mhm.
time you got to be a senior, you should have had some idea as far as what it is that you wanted to do. And then at the same
Mhm.
time, you still had some form of a foundation of a skill to where if you graduated, you can step into something and not just be
Mhm.
just thrown out there and have to work at McDonald's, and
Great.
don't really have no future, whatever. But it was something you said that stuck with me.
Mhm.
When you said something about success,
Mhm.
and they don't seem that he was talking about the person that has a degree, and they looking like, damn, well, I'm not successful because I'm not working in my
Right.
field.
Yeah.
For some reason, it just resonates with me so much. I just feel as though that's the biggest problem is
Mhm.
like the success is being shown to people, and
Right.
nobody's determining what success is for them. And
Right.
that's what blows my mind. Like, I care
Mhm.
less. Like I said, not bragging, being
Yeah.
at the degrees I have, I don't care. I'm
Mhm.
happy. Like when I had my practice, it was just me. I had no employees and I loved it.
Right.
That's successful to me because I'm helping people because massage helps and so forth. But
Yeah.
to me, that's my level of success, knowing that I'm helping
Mhm.
somebody. Is would the money and all that stuff be good? Yes, but that's not what my drive is. So for
Right.
me, it just seems like we're being told what success is, and
Right.
people are only putting their success based on somebody else's idea. Like growing
Yeah.
up, not you, but just in general, like anybody, was that
Mhm.
truly your idea of success is being a millionaire? If someone wasn't showing you that, if you
Right.
wasn't seeing these athletes and entertainers and stuff flashing and showing the cars
Mhm.
that they have and all this other stuff, would that truly be your desire of success or your idea of what success is? And
Mhm.
that's why I see it's easy for
Yeah.
them to drive this agenda along with everything else, is because people
Mhm.
are being told what success is and how they should deem success and how they should live. And that's just
Right.
crazy to me. And
Mhm.
it's just going to continue to get caught in
Yeah.
this cycle or this matrix or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But so I'll let you start off with the closing
Okay.
remarks
Yeah.
of this.
Well, I'm just going. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So my closing remarks. At the end of the day, guys, like I was saying, education is important. You said it best. If you don't choose to go to school, then educate yourself, whatever it is you're trying to do, to better yourself, so that way you can be able to be good at whatever it is you're trying to do. School is not for everybody. I ain't gonna lie, school wasn't for me. I did go to St. Philip's here a year when we moved to San Antonio Community College, and it's not that I don't like learning. So I don't want people thinking, "Well, how you gonna learn if you don't go to school?" I think that's the miss part, is you can still educate yourself without primarily going to school. Granted, you have a professor teaching you or telling you, to educate you to get further on what you're trying to acknowledge. But you can take your own route and get educated, like you said, books. So my closing argument is, do what you got to do to be to reach your potential. School is your route, go do school. But if it's not, don't feel like you cannot make whatever it is you're trying to do in life, whatever goals you're trying to reach. But you do need to get educated, bottom line, regardless. I don't say school is it, is one of the main routes, obviously, but there's other routes. You just got to figure out which one is best for you. So on that note, knowledge is power, as we always say. Educate yourself, believe in yourself, and know that, if school's not for you, for all the young ones, figure out another way. But try it. If it's not for you, at least you did make that effort. I will say that. But don't rule it out as, no, I'm just not going to go to school just because, and don't do anything to better yourself. So just try your best to figure out what makes it work for you. Because I think it's an individual base. And you said it best, man. We are kind of led to believe one thing instead of doing what we believe in, as long as it's going to get you to where you want in life. So on that note, S to yes. Stay focused, trust your process, and stay consistent.
All right.
And I'm
So
done,
close.
Jesse.
Oh, so to close this out, unfortunately, the system that we live in here in the great United States, in order for us to compete, that requires, unfortunately, to have some form of piece of paper, regardless what level it is. I
Mhm.
read the numbers based off of research that I've done, as far as what the average wage is per degree. So if you want to set yourself up for success, that's one route of going. But for me, like I said earlier, my whole thing is education. Um, Definitely educate yourself. Just having a high school degree is not going to propel you not only to not say successful, but to do something in this life, but most of all to improve yourself. You cannot ascend on this journey of life and this journey period without education, because the more you learn, the more you become a better person, and it raises your vibration frequency. So with that in itself is why I love education, is because it's improving me as a person, it's pushing me forward, and it's allowing me to ascend. So of course everybody don't have that same drive and belief. That's my belief. So as I always say, your belief becomes, no, your thoughts becomes your belief, and your belief becomes your manifestation. And whatever that manifestation is, do it 100%. With that note, see y'all next time. Peace.
All right, we out. Okay.